Hello everybody. Today we watched the newest Jurassic World movie. That's right, they're still making these. Gareth Edwards, known for Godzilla 2014, Rogue One, and the movie that no one watched, The Creator,
the good one,
has returned to make a sequel to the Jurassic Park franchise.
Sequel to the sequel to the Jurassic Park franchise?
Yes, the 7th entry in the Jurassic Park franchise. And this one is called Jurassic World Rebirth. So Hayden, what's the plot of Jurassic World Rebirth?
Scarlett Johansson is the star, and she's military mercenary woman, and she's friends with Mahershala Ali, better known as the MCU's Blade, obviously, a role for which he's definitely going to appear. And
5 years ago, he appeared for 3 seconds.
Then they assemble a team to go to the dinosaur island to get... They have like a video game quest where they have to collect a blood sample from the biggest fish, the biggest land animal, and the biggest bird, and they have to do the video game quests. There's like the douchey businessman, and there's the scientist man, and then there's some guys who die, and then they find a capsized boat full of broccoli-haired zoomers who call each other Kuh and rip dab pens and wander around in the woods. They just get separated right away, and they adopt a little baby Yoda dinosaur that they carry around for merchandising reasons. And then the island is full of like the mutant reject dinosaurs, which does not come up in the slightest. There are no mutant dinosaurs until the very last one, which is a 6-legged xenomorph dinosaur T-Rex called the D-Rex, which is short for Demonsaurus Rex. And the Demonsaurus Rex is just like the Cloverfield monster xenomorph thing.
It's a xenomorph mixed with a rancor mixed with a T-Rex.
Yep, and then they run away from the birds, and they complete their video game quest, and Claptrap gives them 25 experience points. And they learn the value of protecting kids because Mahershala Ali's kid died of cancer or something. Connor, what'd you think of Jurassic World Rebirth?
I guess I want to start out by talking about Gareth Edwards. We were pretty excited when The Creator came out because it was a pretty good movie.
Yeah.
And we're like, Rogue One was taken from him. Tony Gilroy finished it. Maybe that's why it was shit. And Godzilla was a concept that kind of lacked the monsters, but then the other American Godzilla movies had too many monsters, but this one didn't have enough. He didn't really strike the correct balance, so that one wasn't very good. But The Creator gave me a lot of faith that maybe Gareth Edwards is really good. I think Gareth Edwards is really good, but the studio really hates to let him fuck with their franchises, and he keeps running into that. I think Star Wars in the Disney era is notorious for overreaching. I mean, they did the same thing with Rogue One that they did with Solo, where they basically swapped him out halfway through. But I guess he finished enough percentage that the directors union gave it to him instead of Tony Gilroy. And Rogue One is it's trash. It looks good, but it's trash. And Godzilla looks good and is mediocre, mostly because it forgets it's a Godzilla movie most of the time. And The Creator looks good and it's a good movie, so I was like, I don't know. Jurassic Park isn't my favorite franchise. I get some mileage from dinosaurs. But Gareth Edwards didn't want to make a Jurassic Park movie. He wanted to recreate The Last World, which is a Lost World, which is basically a proto-Jurassic Park made by William O'Brien, who would later do the 30s King Kong. And then he remade his own movie in the 60s. And it's just like one of the earliest special effects movies. And the plot is pretty much the same. Expedition to island and there's dinosaurs. And people are getting killed by dinosaurs. The broad strokes are there. And I don't know if he's like... It's a Jurassic World movie, but it's also The Lost Planet. And you see footage from the 1920s edition of The Lost Planet throughout.
Yep.
And I think he had this concept. And then Universal's like... But what's the point of Mahershala Ali and Scarlett Johansson? So then they're like, don't worry, we'll take care of that. You just do the rest. And then they made the first 30 minutes of the movie people explaining each other's motivations. It's implied that Scarlett Johansson has PTSD from one of her friends dying on a mission that never really comes back into play and is unnecessary. Mahershala Ali has a son who's died, which led to the divorce of him and his wife. That kind of comes back later because he's protective of the daughter of the family. Aiden said the family of Zoomers. It's like one Zoomer and then like a family. But then the dad learns that Zoomers can be okay too, even if they're annoying or whatever. But I suppose what my point is, taking all this back, is that I feel like the studio made him add a bunch of stuff, like Baby Yoda. Didn't really feel like baby little Yoda thing. Didn't really feel like the movie that Gareth Edwards was trying to make. I think people try to force the cultural phenomenon that is Baby Yoda because Disney got away with it twice. Baby Yoda was a massive cultural phenomenon that came right as everybody forgot the massive cultural phenomenon that was Baby Groot.
Yep.
And since then, I mean, even coming up this month, we got James Gunn's Superman, and Crypto is definitely kind of their attempt at something like that.
Fantastic Four. Also
Fantastic Four's got the stupid robot.
The
little stupid Herbie is the name. That's the Fantastic Four's robot.
Yeah, I know Herbie was in the comics, but he wouldn't be in this movie if it wasn't for Baby.
Oh yeah, no, they cut his ass. They cut like Franklin Richards. I think they're trying to do like the Fantastic Four family thing. I don't know how well that's gonna work. We'll see in a couple weeks. But my point is, little sidekicks for merchandising purposes are big now, and Jurassic Park must sell a lot of merchandise to somebody because it's something that's always stocked in Toy Store next to like Marvel and DC and Star Wars and Pokemon and that type of stuff. Like Jurassic Park somehow, like, there's some sort of lifeblood that's keeping the franchise running. People are buying this shit, and that's why they keep making the movies. So they tried to make their own marketable Baby Yoda, and it feels out of place. I think the core plot of the family is solid enough. I think the problem is, like, the actual arcs in this movie should be more simple, obviously, because it feels like a bunch of context was added, and I don't know if that was Gareth Edwards or the studio, because
the studio.
I'm gonna guess the studio, but there's only the two Gareth Edwards movies we've seen that I don't think had a fuck ton of studio interference. I'm sure Godzilla had like your standard level, and I think the creator was pretty much the one for him. But those movies have very simple characters. They have like one thing that's fucking them up, makes them mad or sad or whatever, and then that's what they go for. Gareth Edwards is kind of a concept guy, it feels like, which is also why I think studios have a hard time. Because they're like, Scarlett Johansson needs to have some drive, some motivation. But then the problem is the rest of the movie doesn't really back up her motivation. She's sad that her friend died on a mission as a mercenary. And where does that go? Not really anywhere. There's a new Alan, who's just like some guy who's like, I'm Alan's protege. And I kind of look like Alan, but I'm not Alan. I'm new Alan. And he's like, I want to take the
Alan.
I want to take the MacGuffins and I want to put it as open source so everybody can get help instead of becoming a multi-millionaire. And Scarlett Johansson, who's a mercenary who seemingly like kills and robs and smuggles for money, decides to make a full character jump and decides that she would give up $10 million to help everyone else.
Yeah.
I can't really put a thumb on her character. Mahershala Ali trying to save the kids, I think, kind of fits. But his character's kind of hard to track, too. You got, like, this implication that he has, a dead son, and that his wife left him because they couldn't get past the death of the son. It's mentioned in one scene. So then he really wants to help protect the kids, but he's separated from the kids most of the time. I feel like there would have potentially been more mileage if, like, the doctor, evil businessman, and Scarlett Johansson were A-plot, and Mahershala Ali were stuck with the kids, and at first he seems cold and stuff, but then he's got a good heart and wants to save the kids.
It's just Jurassic Park 1 again.
Yeah. Yes, I mean,
It's a better movie.
Realistically, it is, but the one thing I do like about this movie compared to the Jurassic World movie is, like, Jurassic World is a Marvel movie set in Jurassic Park, but Jurassic Park is renamed to Jurassic World. And the second movie is like a weird haunted house movie, and the third one is like a weird, like, plant. Like, it's the first.
Eating the corn.
They're like, we have the 2 legacy sequels, but we're gonna make the most legacy sequel by having all the old characters come back. And then, like, 2 years later, they wanted to relaunch it, and I think this came out so fast that I'm wondering if this was pitched as a Lost World movie, especially because there's all the allusions to Lost World. It's clearly heavily inspired by that film.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's, like... Also, like, the musical cues are really bad. The sound editing I didn't think was great. The music in general... There's obviously, like, the iconic score, but, like, every other piece of music in this movie is just dog shit.
Every movie in this franchise gets worse and worse at using the Jurassic Park theme. Like, in the first movie, that theme plays over the first time you see dinosaurs. In the second movie, they're, like, flying a plane over and they see the dinosaurs. And then in Jurassic World, it just plays when they're looking at the theme park. And in this movie, the first time it plays is when they're landing a plane at a fishing village in Puerto Rico to charter a boat. For some reason.
Yeah. I mean, it's iconic at this point.
It's
you
iconic.
gotta play it. And it's the one motif they're willing to run with because everything else sounds really stocky, generic, and bad. Even the cinematography just is probably the worst cinematography of any of Gareth Edwards' films so far. There are some moments in the woods and stuff where there aren't any, like, poorly CGI'd dinosaurs where you're like, that's nice.
I like the parts where they have practical dinosaurs to be kind of like The Force Awakens, where you're like, see, there's still, like, some practical effects. There's like a 1-second shot where the little baby Yoda dinosaur's a hand puppet, and then it becomes a little cartoon again.
Yeah.
For some reason, just like the stupid bird in The Force Awakens.
Yeah, this movie definitely leans on character archetypes, which is kind of an Amblin special. Like, the villain is very much like your Amblin special, like, oh, I'm a greedy businessman. And the CEO of this company is Steven Spielberg, a greedy businessman.
He's just like Newman from Seinfeld in the first Jurassic Park and dies in the exact same way.
Yeah, I mean... There's a lot of, like, repeated themes. This movie's kind of Frankenstein together. It feels like, you know, similarly to, like, Rogue One or something. It's like Gareth Edwards is here in spirit. And you don't know if he would have made a good movie or a bad movie. And the hard thing is, like, I think his Godzilla movie is a miscalculation, but okay. And Rogue One is trash, and this movie's kind of trash, but... Then the creator's good, and it's like, is he just, like, wildly inconsistent? Is the studio just never stops fucking with his career? I think it might be a bit of both. That's kind of the vibe I get. I don't know. I do like that it's a little bit back to basics, but also it just, like... It was, like, what, 3 years ago that the last one came out? I think it was 2022. Yeah. We don't need to start a new trilogy after 3 years. I'm sorry. Even like some of these franchises just have to take a bit of a hiatus. And I'm not saying like a crazy hiatus, like wait 6 years and start a new Jurassic World trilogy, because surely this is meant to be some kind of Scarlett Johansson led trilogy. I think there will be another Jurassic World movie. I don't think it's going to relate to this one in much of a capacity. Perhaps Scarlett Johansson will return. But also, I don't know what the critics thought of this movie, but surely they couldn't have thought this was good. I don't know. I'm sad to report that I think Gareth Edwards is kind of back on the mess train. And yeah. I think, obviously, you can see blatant studio interference, but at the same time, you still don't know how much is his fault. Maybe he just made a fucking mess of a film and the studio tried to salvage it, and then the studio fucked it up worse, which is what happened with Rogue One. So maybe it was similar. But even so, like, this movie, just from a mood perspective, feels so much different. This feels so generic. Like, Gareth Edwards, like, Rogue One and Creator and Godzilla all have kind of like a thesis that sets them apart from other films in the franchise. Even with like Rogue One taking a lot of motifs from like the original trilogy and whatnot. Yeah, but here, fucking this could have been directed by anybody. This could have been directed by the guy who did Transformers: The Rise of Beasts or Planet of the Apes 6 or 4 or whatever. Or fucking what other shit. Although I think we're starting to see a resurgence in... I think studios have decided to kind of retreat a bit. You know what I'm saying? Like, they just... Transformers, they couldn't figure out how to do without Michael Bay, so they just hired him to do, I guess, the real Transformers 6. I guess Rise of Beasts and the G.I. Joe crossover and Transformers 1 are failed experiments. Bumblebee, that's all swept under the rug because the fucking king wants his crown back. And honestly, like... It's either... The thing about Transformers with Michael Bay is it's like Russian roulette, you know? It's either going to be the worst dog shit ever or the worst dog shit ever, but in like a good way. Like Transformers 4, I love that movie. Furious 7 core, everybody thinks it's the worst. It's the best one. Transformers The Last Night is the second best one because it also doesn't take itself seriously. Once Michael Bay stopped giving a fuck after the original trilogy... Sometimes
you get a fucking Transformers 2 stuck in there and it's like, oh... Yeah. But even so, like, I would rather just watch some, like, schizophrenic shit like the first 3 Transformers movies. 3 is the worst, because it's, like, the closest thing to not awful, technically, but it's still really fucking bland and boring. It's, like, Transformers 3 is, like, Fast and Furious, like, 9. Like, I don't remember. I don't fucking recall. Is Fast and Furious 9 with Cardi B, or is that 10? What has happened? What's Fast and Furious? 8, they're on the ice. Fast and Furious 9, I have no memory the submarine of. One. Fast and Furious X has fucking Jason Statham, or not Jason, Jason Momoa. What happens in 9? 9, I know, I think I remember, is that the one where Tyrese Gibson goes to space? Yeah, Ludacris and Tyrese
and then, space. Okay, so that is the one with Cardi B, and then there's the first part, they're like fighting terrorists in the Middle East or something, and Tyrese Gibson's getting shot at by like 80 people with machine guns, and he's just running, and you can see all the squibs going off behind his feet, and it's like, how the fuck is this guy not got shot?
Just like Transformers 1, baby.
Pretty much. Anyways, I'm excited for that, and I think for some reason, and I'm kind of like nostalgic for I love the idea that they're retreating back into the early 2000s, because like at the time, like we didn't know how well we had it, because then they're like, it's like, oh man, every movie is safe and every movie's not terrible, but it's like, I just want some shit mixed in there, but I want shit that was like, somebody tried something and failed, not shit like somebody technically couldn't make a good Marvel movie, which is pathetic when you literally just it's like a
formula.
It's like tracing a picture and making it look like shit, you know?
It's like fucking up a bag of Doritos, you know? Thousands of them, millions of them have been made. If you fuck a bag of Doritos up, what are you doing, you know?
Right, exactly. So yeah, I don't know. This is like, I don't even know, man. I think I like it better than at least the 5th and 6th Jurassic Parks. I hated those movies, but I think there's parts. There's parts that are worse than 5 and 6. And there's other aspects that are some of the most, that's probably the most clean since the original trilogy. But I probably put it like, rather than the Jurassic World movies, which were all kind of like a Marvel movie and then two weird Marvel movies, it's like, it feels like the real Jurassic Park 4 instead of Jurassic World. But then, like, similar to Jurassic Park, where there's kind of like the decline in quality. As time went on, it feels like another step down from Jurassic Park 3. I think that's my best description. It's not Jurassic World 4, it's Jurassic Park 4, and it's another leap down the quality slope.
Yeah.
So that's my description. Aiden, what are your thoughts on Jurassic World Rebirth?
I've got some studio notes. Number one, this movie, literally the first thing in this movie is like a slideshow of text boxes, and it's like, we know in the last movie that all the dinosaurs were all over the world. Don't worry about it, they all fucking died.
It took them 2 years to go extinct.
They all fucking died.
2 years and they all died.
They're all dead. They're all just back on the island. Yeah, kind of incredible how that worked out for him, so that they could do this. The demonsaurus Rex should be the funniest thing ever, and it's not. It's only in the movie for like 3 minutes, and it's really boring. These movies, like Jurassic Park 1 and 2, especially, and a little bit 3, are like really bloody movies. Like, people just get fucking eviscerated and torn apart, lose limbs, and there's blood everywhere. That shit doesn't happen in these fucking Jurassic World movies. They're also clean and sterile. Every single person who dies in this movie dies in one clean bite. There's no blood. There's no gore. No one's getting fucking mauled. They just get swallowed by a bird whole and it's over.
There was the one shot that Gareth Edwards was really horny over where the lesbian cannon fodder got eaten by one of the fucking lizards, and then you see like 1 second of blood on the beach that like goes into the ocean, and then Mahershala Ali's like,
yeah, it's like fucking M3 GAN. They're too scared to show some people getting torn the fuck up. People should be getting shredded in these movies like in the originals. Kids love the originals. In those movies, people are just getting fucking, they're losing limbs, they're getting shredded, people's guts are getting ripped out.
Yeah.
Newman gets fucking gross black shit sprayed all over his face and gets eaten by the weird frilly dinosaurs. We need some of that shit.
I think parents got too sensitive, because I even think like Revenge of the Sith couldn't happen nowadays. What with like Count Dooku's head rolling on the floor and like Mace Windu getting his arm chopped off and blasted out a window. Like, there's such thing as too intense. So like you got to do it more basic. I'm like, I feel like it doesn't matter if like there's a genocide on screen. Jurassic World could just be like a Trojan horse, and it's just Schindler's List 2 or something, and parents would take their kids to see it if there's a fucking dinosaur in it.
Yeah.
But I think they're also really scared of that fact to make it too violent, even though they're gonna so they're gonna ride the light PG-13.
Very light PG-13. Surprising restraint not having a velociraptor scene. All these fucking movies have velociraptor scenes.
Yeah.
Kind of proud of Gareth Edwards for telling the studio no velociraptor scene, but there is a fucking stupid T-Rex scene. And the T-Rex never fights the demonsaurus Rex, which, I would have complained if it happened, because it would have been stupid. But I'm also complaining it's not there, because this movie's fucking boring.
Yeah.
They have to find the 3 MacGuffin dinosaurs, and each of the MacGuffin dinosaurs is in this shit for like 5 minutes. Like, they find the mosasaur, and it's like a whale, and it flips around, they shoot it, and they're like, oh great. And then the mosasaur just leaves the movie. And they find the tall dinosaur, the titanosaur, and the titanosaurs are friendly, and they shoot it, and they're like, great. And then within like 5 minutes, they're fighting the bird dinosaur, and the bird dinosaur, they get the stuff from the egg, and then the bird dinosaur attacks them, and they just fall off a cliff, and they all survive, and they're like, great.
I feel like
moving on.
I feel like the three scenes also wanted to have their Spielberg cake and eat it too, because you got the first one, which is like, okay, this dinosaur just fucked up the boat, and then it's Jaws, a bunch of shots that are kind of Jaws-ish.
Yep.
And then you go to
and then you got
the second one, which is the Jurassic
Park
1 scene, but now they get the video game MacGuffin. And then the third one, like, the part where he's holding the egg and,
it's just
and
like
milking it is literally the shot from Raiders where...
Yep.
Indy has the idol. It's this exact same shot.
Yeah, and then they fight the birds from Jurassic Park 3, which wasn't directed by Steven Spielberg, but he like wrote the movie and then he was like, I don't really want to do this, and passed it off.
Yeah. Now I just think they needed to have like a black and white scene with a dinosaur holding a red balloon, you know? Oh wait, no, that's Pennywise. I was trying to go Schindler's List. Pink coat, little pink coat.
Little pink coat.
You know?
Liam Neeson shows up and says, damn, the Holocaust was sad.
The dinosaur Holocaust.
The dinosaur Holocaust.
There's but one blue raptor. There's one raptor left.
That's probably
just
what happened.
Like a starved blue or something?
Yeah. I guess Blue is dead. There's one dinosaur left in New York.
Theoretically, they said there's like some that are in the park or some shit running around. Or
I don't really like. They got like the mutant island, and there's only one mutant dinosaur. I guess that's kind of like a carryover from Jurassic Park and Jurassic World 1 and Jurassic World 2, where they had like the weird white T-Rex that could turn invisible and the like half velociraptor, half person in the haunted house thing. But then there's just this fucking freak dinosaur. Like, the Indominus Rex looks like a fucking T-Rex, but it's white. And this thing's like a fucking the Cloverfield monster with a xenomorph head and xenomorph 6 arms and eats a helicopter. I don't know. There's like no tension. It's really fucking boring. This is the most boring movie you could possibly make.
I think there's a lot of vague
an
shit
evil
too.
mutant dinosaur named the demonsaurus Rex.
They're like, there's a demon dinosaur that broke out on the testing plant,
and it kills one person.
and you're like,
leaves.
So was this during the time of the original Jurassic Park? But then you can see there's like modern equipment there, so you're like, oh, so this was recent? Was this like?
I guess it was like during Jurassic World 1. I guess.
And then, yeah, there's a lot of unexplained stuff, like, so I guess they all just took off of the island and then it became illegal to go there. I think.
And all the dinosaurs died off screen. They all died.
Everywhere else, yeah.
Even like the bird dinosaurs that could fly south for the winter just stood around.
No, they all flew to the equator. They're just, like, we're very spread out.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'd think no one, like... The other thing that doesn't make sense is that, like, it's widely known that right next to the equator, and they're like, so, like, the family's like, we've done this trip, like, 10 times, and they're like, didn't you know there's a shitload of dinosaurs? And the question kind of remains unanswered. I feel like if I was the family, I'd be like, well, I guess we can no longer take our trips here because it's infested with invasive, murderous dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Like the family almost acts like they're in a world where the dinosaurs don't exist, and it's like random that the dinosaurs start popping up, which is another reason I think it might have been a Lost World script originally. Because, like, okay, in Lost World, they're trying to prove that there's dinosaurs. So, like, if you had the family, like, get shipwrecked and then this boat picks them up and they're like, yo, we got hit by a dinosaur, and then they go to the island, you know, to, like, try to prove there's dinosaurs. That's basically like Lost World.
Yeah,
but here it's like for some reason the family didn't know that this whole area was infested with dinosaurs, and they should probably fuck off.
Yeah. You know what? There's that one fucking weird scene where the evil businessman finds like a crashed plane and he like pokes it with a stick, and then it's just never brought up again. I don't know what that was.
No, that's where he got the gun. Because the dead guy had a gun, and then you're like, oh, so he's gonna hold them hostage, and then that's...
I didn't realize that was...
That's relevant for, like, one... Yeah. Because they had no weapons, and the corrupt businessman is like... the corrupt businessman's like, these guys are too soft, and they're gonna commit a coup. And it was right after Scarlett Johansson's like, were you planning on throwing that kid off? Which, like, how did... We have a cat fight. I don't know how Scarlett Johansson knew that he tried to throw that kid off, But she says that to him, and then he's like, fine. And then he goes to drink water, and then blood splashes down, and he sees the airplane. You're like, what does this have to do with anything? And then you see the gun. There's a lot of objects that are set up. Gareth Edwards did a lot of objects set up, which is why I was hyper aware that he grabbed the gun. I'm like, okay, so now the gun is going to come into play in the third act. And honestly, it was minimal, because really what happened is he did nothing with it, and then he lost the gun, and then he tried to shoot a dinosaur, and then he fails and dies. And then, but there's other objects set up. Like there's the
flares.
the flares. There's the scene where Mahershala Ali is about to leave the boat, and then he turns back and grabs his son's picture, which I guess is set up that he loves kids. You know, they did a lot of like object setups that are like, you know, in a normal movie you would expect it to come into play at some point, and you're like, oh, that's clever. But first off, when you do it 20 times, then I'm hyper aware of every object that's about to come into play in 2 scenes. And also, like even I thought the Twizzlers, when they really were horny for Twizzlers at first, and I guess it was probably just product placement. But then they went into the gas station.
Placement.
They went into the gas station. I'm like, oh, you know what she's gonna do, and it's gonna be really stupid, is she's gonna trick the bird with Twizzlers. She's gonna grab Twizzlers off the shelves, and they're so yummy that the T-Rexes eat them.
Somehow Baby Yoda meets them at the gas station, and they feed him more Twizzlers.
Yeah, they get separated from Baby Yoda.
There's a lot of food product placement in this one.
Dr. Pepper.
The big bird steps on a bottle of Code Red.
Multiple soda brands.
The
Dr. Pepper's got something pretty prominent.
The demonsaurus Rex initially escapes its cage because a guy's eating a Snickers bar and drops the wrapper on the ground.
That was so fun.
And it breaks the door, and that's how the
whole
demonsaurus
first
Rex
30 minutes. That wasn't cute. It's like so. The world's most dangerous, biggest, most dangerous, most mutatedest dinosaur of all time is kept behind a door that malfunctions because it sucks up a Snickers wrapper. That is like the thinnest plastic. It would get torn apart unless the fucking the door activates. So what is it? Is it like really thin, like millimeter thin, like plastic gears that open and close this 70-ton door?
When it gets sucked in, it starts sparking for some reason. What does it spark into it?
It got caught in the fan, and the Snickers bar caused friction on the hyper-fast fans, just enough to shoot a spark and malfunction the machine.
I don't know. The Demonsaurus Rex gets out.
I feel like I would have to be like
placement.
I mean, it would be hard for like a Snickers wrapper to realistically do any damage. I don't know why that was the thing, and not just like. You didn't have to do the Snickers wrapper. You could have just had
was paid off by food product placement.
He could have just said like, "Hey, our shit is shoddy here. They're cutting corners," and then they're like, "No, he's not." And then the guy goes in there. He's like, "No, it's not." And then the door doesn't close. But then the door closes on him, and he's like, "Hey, I'm stuck." And then exactly what happens, but without the stupid fucking Snickers bar. I forgot about that.
Scarlett Johansson's whole salary was paid by a fucking
Snickers.
By Snickers and Mountain Dew.
Yeah. Surprisingly for a plot that takes place on a deserted island. Also, apparently they just peeled out. Like, there was no cleanup. So, like...
Yeah.
But, like, it couldn't have been that long, but it must have been a while. Because I feel like even Jurassic World, if we look at it, like... I don't know when the lab thing happened. That would have been nice to clarify, because, like, all the vehicles still work.
Most of it in 2015 when Jurassic World takes place.
All the vehicles still work. There's tons of food on the shelves. Nothing looks particularly dusty, but then on the outside it's like ruins, because I guess the dinosaurs were just attacking empty structures.
When the evil businessman is driving the car, it's like a smart car that keeps trying to swerve to avoid dinosaurs.
Oh, yeah.
And that shit didn't exist until like 6 years ago.
Yeah, that would have been past 2015. That like really annoying like detection stop is more like a 2020. I can't map it out. Was this like a brand new thing? But also the movie also kind of acts like the fucking equator rim has been like the dinosaur oasis for the last several years. Because a lot of the movie often will reference, like, 32 years ago a disaster happened at Jurassic Park. And they're not like, and 30 years ago a disaster happened in San Francisco. 28 years ago. But then there was about a 20-year hiatus. And 10 years ago...
10 years ago, they opened another theme park.
And that one got fucked up. But then there was a haunted house.
7 years ago.
And then remember when the fucking lotuses came through and tried to kill everybody.
Through and ate all the corn, and then the dinosaurs are just incidentally in that
and then
movie.
All the dinosaurs spread across the world, and then they all died. But now they're all at the equator. The doctor talks like... And also, like, in this world, like... He's like, 12 people came to my dinosaur museum. Like... Old people would still fucking love dinosaurs. There's no change in it.
I've been to the Hinckley Fire Museum like 20 times. Old people go to any museum. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, like, my grandparents would drive 2,000 miles to go to the fucking dinosaur museum.
Also, the nerdy scientist man has never seen a live dinosaur.
No, he has. He just saw him in captivity, he says.
Okay, but 2 years ago, dinosaurs lived all over the world and just flew around and hung out. And then they all died.
They all died.
Did they never go outside during that
2-year
period?
You would think, as like a professional dinosaur scientist who worked directly under Alan himself from Jurassic Park 1, 2, and 6. You would think you would have met a guy.
It's 1, 3, and 6.
Oh, 1, 3. Yep. Okay, 1,
2 is just Jeff Goldblum. Jeff Goldblum's in 2. He's in 1, 2, and 5. And Laura Dern is in 1, 3, and
do you
one
think
of the
after
other
this
ones,
movie doesn't do well critically or commercially,
Laura Dern's coming back?
Universal will be like, we need Alan and Laura Dern, Jeff Goldblum, Chris Pratt, Bryce Dallas Howard, Scarlett Johansson.
I'm pretty sure Jeff Goldblum dies.
I fell asleep for like a solid 2/3 of 3. Well, he was in Jurassic World 3.
I think he gets eaten by the locusts or something.
If he died in 3, I slept through that part. I think my body couldn't contain how boring Jurassic World 3 was, and I fell asleep through like the last 45 minutes.
I'm like...
As far as I got in Jurassic World 3, Jeff Goldblum was still alive.
I'm like 40% sure Jeff Goldblum dies. I don't remember. I remember the locusts eating the corn, and then Chris Pratt's like, look at that dinosaur that's just hanging out in, like, upstate New York. And then it died, I guess.
But I think it's a little foolish how you're talking right now, because you do realize something, and that's that... Okay, here's my pitch. How was Jurassic Park made originally? Cloning. Over 32 years, they must have been able to clone humans.
Well, to be
but
fair,
obviously, he wouldn't be old enough.
Fair.
So here's my pitch. Jeff Goldblum got cloned at the first Jurassic Park. So now, clone Jeff Goldblum is as old as Jeff Goldblum from Jurassic Park. So you digitally de-age him.
In the original Jurassic Park book, Jeff Goldblum dies. And then when Michael Crichton wrote the second book, he's like, actually, I kind of want Jeff Goldblum to star in this one. Because he was like a fan favorite in the movie, so he's like, the second book just starts with like, actually he didn't die, he's fine, and just continues from there. So I guess if he did die, he could just be.
I like my digital de-aging cloning theory.
I do like the cloning one though. I think that's funny.
I just think that would be better in general.
Man, the Lego Jurassic World video just came out at the perfect time. Not planned, just. You know, if Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 didn't take 100 hours, it probably wouldn't have worked out this way. So, fortuitous. And if Star Wars Battlefront wasn't a 4-hour game, you know, all the pieces just fell into place.
The pieces clicked into place. But Battlefront's irrelevant, because that was the next game we played after Ultimate Alliance. Battlefront was before our game we're working on right now, Mario Kart World.
Sure.
But still.
Connor, would you recommend Jurassic World Rebirth?
No. This movie is like... It's just confliction. It's fucking mess. It's like Rogue One. It's a fucking mess. And I'm sure, honestly, my guess, and I haven't looked, I think critics probably are mixed to positive on it. And I think fans will say it's good. Yeah. And I don't care, because it's Jurassic Park community, and I don't associate with them. So, I I don't like Jurassic Park. I don't like people who like Jurassic Park. I think you're a fucking loser if you like Jurassic Park. I'm just kidding. I take that all back.
Star Wars fan.
I take that all back, you know. Jurassic Park's sick. And I don't recommend this movie because it was a fucking mess. You know, I think either you gotta Gareth Edwards is kind of back against the wall because he's not going to make a good studio movie. Studios won't allow him to.
The creator flops,
but he
so he's
wants.
Never gonna make a good
he's
movie
not getting
again.
original IPs. I guess I just don't know what to tell the guy because people keep hiring him as the guy who did Rogue One and Godzilla, despite the fact that those movies were taken from him. So he'll probably, I'm sure he's kind of just fucked. Like he's probably already fielding offers for like Terminator 11.
Dude. This movie might actually make money. I expected it to be dead empty, like
the Jurassic
World 3, but people actually showed up for this one for some reason. So
it seems like a contradiction that I'm just like, I guess I'll watch Jurassic Park. How have these not flopped yet? And then you look at the box office for these, and they're just consistent money makers for Universal. Even over like Fast and Furious, these have been wildly consistent.
Yeah, I don't know.
So I don't know. Aiden, would you recommend Jurassic World's Rebirth?
No, I hate this movie. I think honestly, I'm gonna put it above the boring bug movie and below the haunted house one. I like the haunted house one. Actually, I'll probably put it above Jurassic World 1 because that's just boring MCU shit, but it's still below the haunted house one. So it is the fifth best Jurassic Park movie, but I still fucking hate it. I think it's awful.
I pretty much hate all of them except the first two.
3's fine. It's a little stupid.
I kind of hate 3 and I kind of hate 2 as well.
2's 2 has like
I
one
think
really
Jurassic
incredible
Park
sequence.
is by far the best of the series, and like to me that movie's like a 7 out of 10. I don't know why I still watch these movies other than out of sheer obligation.
2 has one incredible sequence, but is otherwise kind of mediocre.